Hello, this is Nitesh again. Now we are on the project which I want to do as part of phase two. Ideally, if it all can be done in one go, that will be great. But I can understand sometimes it might be a phased approach, but either way, it will work. So, what happens first? So, quickly run down of the previous session. So, we went on to our client input sheet. We did some sort of calculations and sorry, not this one. Mm, okay. So we went into the sheet, we did some calculation, we came with some sort of cash flow analysis, bank and input sheet. Now the idea that I have that is basically a single sheet which will have more tabs, and what those tabs will be doing is something which I will cover at this stage. Now this is one of the sheets that I have, which is called house and land model uh, sheet. It's currently September, so it's the latest release. Now we do get this sheet on monthly basis because our house prices uh, changes time to time, and also a few other components changes with time to time. Now there are few things that we have to keep in mind. Now this sheet doesn't have to look exactly like this, but if it can look close, that would be great. So what happens on this sheet is we first of all write it's a first home buyer or a non-first home buyer. Now I would ideally like this to be pre-filled because we filled it in the input sheet. So let's say in this case it is a first home buyer, and let's say instead of key start bank we can choose either one of them. Then we go to deposit. Now key start deposit, 5% deposit, 5% with LMI, deposit 10%, 20% deposit amount, guarantor. Now how do we calculate these numbers is something that uh, people have to understand. Now it's fairly simple. This is basically to do with formulas. Now all these formulas are known here and whatnot. But so if we are going with key start, the deposit amount is very simple. The deposit amount required is usually 1% of the total package price. So what we are going to do is we are going to create this sheet saying that okay, is this client a key start client or is this client a bank client? So let's say this client is a bank client, then this turns into red because it's a bank deposit. Now bank takes deposit of 5%, 5% inclusive of LMI, 5% or 10% deposit or 20% deposit. So let's say we start with key start. Then the next question asked is suburb, which suburb that client is looking to build. Now, what is the importance of this suburb? You will be able to figure that out later on. So the suburb will tell, let's say we chose in this case Alkimos Beach, and then uh, basically premium range or standard range. Now, these are the two ranges of houses that we have, and that it comes like this. Now there is a component where it says the price of land, the block dimension, we put a rebate on, and if there's a deposit amount. So let's say the client puts deposit of $2,500. Now these are list of variation. So crossover, stormwater, PAL 12.5, communication pack, 1200 doors, and then additional amount if they have to. Now there's also design, so we choose certain sets of designs. So let's say the design is Teorix. It basically comes up with a picture of the design, and then how the front would look like, something as an example. So once you put all of this in, the relative base model comes in. Now the cost of crossover, cost of stormwater, cost of PAL, all that are calculated in the background. There should be somewhere in some place, which I'm not sure where it is, but there should be some place somewhere. Now it also says funding risk January 2018, if there is any funding risk that we are potentially anticipating. Now here is the sketch. It says the original package price is some, okay, so put the land price, so let's say $160,000. So if we put a price of land, it says the overall package price is this. There's a fees of $33,000. There's a stamp duty is $0. LMI is $0 minus promotion that we're giving $20,000 discount. They also get first homeowners grant of $10,000, which means the cash required will be this much, and the loan amount will be this much. After loan amount is calculated, it also calculates the repayment amount, which is 5.16% interest rate. If you refer the input sheet, you will know that. And after refinancing, the repayment will drop to this, and it will become output file as this. So this is what we typically wants to calculate. Now, how the formula works, or what the formula works, is very simple. Not very simple, but probably simple to explain. Now, there is a cost associated to this. So when we put area Alkimos, and then we go Baldavis Rivergum 2. Now these are different sorts of soil quality that we have to measure. Now I do have a price list of house, and I also have a price list which is called as site work allowance, which basically means, okay, if I put Alkimos, it tells me what is the site work cost for Alkimos. If it is Ashby, what is the site work cost for Ashby, and what are the respective site work costs. So these are the site work cost, which varies from area to area. It varies because of certain amount of work required in that area, and these sections also keeps changing pretty much every alternate month. So the areas will still remain same. It's the amount which will fluctuate month on month basis. So I need a capability or something of this sort where there should be a sheet which is behind it, where I should be able to update the prices of all the areas, the site work cost sheet, and it has all the prices, and I can manually go and update all the prices if need be, and then choose the price range. Now we have two ranges, premium and standard, and I do have a price list for that. Again, it's not an Excel sheet. We get a hard file copy to keep it to ourselves, and I need a place where I can manually feed in the price of premium and standard. Then there's a crossover, so we already know the price of crossover, which is roughly around $2,184. Stormwater, there's a price I know. BAL 12.5 price I know. Communication price is something which I have to put in. 1200 doors is something which I have to put in additional if I put whatever number. Now cost of land is something which we find out from the price list of land, and then we put in here. We also put a dimension of blocks. So let's say this is a 15 meter by 20 block. So what it does is it basically goes up here, the Alkimos 15 by 20 block with deluxe design at premium spec for a client name, let's say Alex. So it shows Alkimos, this is a premium spec for Alex. Now once I put a design, it creates this small little column here which is called funding risk, and there's a median Jan 18, and there's an amount here. Now I don't want this section to be here, I just want this to be hidden. I don't want this to be here, so we can just get rid of this. Now every design has a floor plan. Now somebody has to do an activity to upload all the floor plans and name associated to it. So if we say Manfredini, it has to show Manfredini's picture, and if it says, let's say, Pacific Breeze, then it has to show Pacific Breeze. Now there is a rebate section here, so sometimes land agent do want to give a discount. So let's say in this case there's a rebate of $5,000. It should straight away reflect that the rebate will come in, which reduces the loan amount. So that's it. Now once this house is designed, it comes in a financial breakdown, which means original package price. The original package price is basically price of house, cost of site work, cost of crossover, cost of stormwater, cost of BAL 12.5, cost of communication tax, cost of 1200 doors. All put together, there is a price, original package price. Now the fees is always fixed. We usually use $3,000 for that. Then comes the stamp duty. Now stamp duty is something a first home buyer is exempted if he buys a land less than $300,000. So let's say if it is a non-first home buyer, you will suddenly see the price basically comes in. Now where do we calculate, how do we calculate that stamp duty? Very simple. all we have to do is basically AMP stamp duty calculator, WA, and it should show us a result. How do we calculate? There is a formula. So if the purchase price is between $0 to $80,000, stamp duty is this. If the purchase price is this to this. So if you go to stamp duty calculator Australia, there should be an easier way. Yeah. So if we I will go to the sheet first. So stamp duty is calculated depending upon that. So let's say if the land was so it's a first home buyer, this becomes 0, but let's say this becomes $320,000, there will be a number which will come in here. So it basically has a cutoff of $300,000. Now LMI is something which is not applicable in this case, which is, of course, it says that it has calculated from here. But if it becomes bank and it becomes here or something like that, or we go 5% deposit, the LMI numbers usually come in here, that this is the LMI amount. So let's look at Keystart and finish it off first. So yeah, so it says LMI amount minus promotion. Now this house doesn't have a promotion, so let's choose something which has. So this is a promotion. So every time there's a house design which is called Breeze in the last, so this is Pacific Breeze. There are a few more Breeze ranges that we have, which is this Aruba Breeze. So whenever these, so there are only 5 designs that we call it Breeze. Now in those designs there's no promotion, so we basically put them as Breeze range, and those will have usually no promotion attached to it, so no discount. So let's say we don't do that, and this guy gets $20,000 discount minus first homeowners grant, which is $10,000, minus rebate if there is any. So then the total cash required is this, which is usually 1% of this package price. Now package price is usually the amount of house plus land, so the price of land plus price of house, which and plus all these additional, so whatever this number comes in, this is the original package minus $20,000. So we have a $20,000 promotion, becomes the actual original package price, and 1% of that has to be this amount. That is now total number of cash required, and then the loan amount become $359,249. So this minus this minus this minus this becomes this, and this is when the Keystart will say this is your repayment. This is after you refinance it to bank. The same amount at 4% interest rate will become like this, and the interest component in the overall installment will be this. Now then we do a building journey. Now in building journey, what it says is it has to start with the current month. So let's say we are in September. If you open the same sheet in October, it should usually say October. So October, and then deposit amount, and it usually says land at $2,000. We should be able to change it to $1,000, and then $1,500 bill deposit. Then the structure comes in, and then it says total cash required at due stage. Because this guy paid $1,000 and $1,500, which means they have already paid $2,500, and the total cash required was $3,750. So the remaining cash required is once they settle at this stage, and this is when the remaining amount is required. And after slab down, it is $50, $50, $50, $50, $50 which is usually, you will be able to get this information from this calculation sheet. This sheet should have all the calculation by itself done anyways. So that's how you usually calculate. Now stamp duty rates, you can read all of this pretty much explains you things in more detail than I would like to know. But what you can do is you can go on this sheet and you can see the stamp duty calculation, and then you will be able to, if somebody can hack this sheet and find out what this cell means where, all I want is something like this, which will work. So that's how it is. uh, the whole idea is that this sheet and the client input sheet should be at one place. So that's the part of phase 2 that I'm after. And again, the idea is, if I should be able to print this sheet and give it to my clients. Now there are the pictures here of elevation, which I will, which it can remain same, it doesn't matter. Also, I want this to be calculated at 4%. I think it is a little more than 4%, but anyways, that doesn't matter. It's not something which I'm too fussed about. So this is the pretty much end of my project 2, which I would be like to do. Okay, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. No worries. Thank you.